Sweet. Thank you. Very good. So what is a career fair? Why should you attend? Again, the biggest misconception is that it's not really for first year students or maybe even sophomore year, but it's absolutely open to you. Everybody should be attending. Even if you're going to go in and say like, I'm probably not looking for an internship or I'm not looking for full-time employment yet. It's absolutely still a good time. So you could at least start planting some seeds, figuring out, what you like, what you don't like, so that it's not, this big fear of next time when I'm actually really job searching, it's not intimidating. So you're just kind of testing the waters and seeing what it would be like, so it's not so overwhelming. And so at a career fair, it's a networking opportunity with employers to see what they're looking for in their hires. They're looking to find full-time and part-time and even internships. And so internships could be, and for those who don't know what an internship is, it's a time for you to get some practice in relevant experience before you start actually job searching, for full-time employment. And so internships could be 5 to 10 hours a week. They could be 40 hours a week, especially like in the summers. It's super common to have 40-hour weeks or full-time internships. Internships could be paid. They could be unpaid. They could be for class credit, and they may not be. And so it's also just to go and talk to employers and find out more information about the career itself. Like maybe you're a first-year student that doesn't know exactly what they want to be when they grow up. Or what they want to major in. That's completely okay. And so this is an opportunity to speak to folks that are actually in the field, right? That are actually in the industry that you're looking at, and see what does their day-to-day operation look like. And then it's just the ability for you to practice speaking with employers, right? Like what's an elevator pitch, which we're going to talk about a little bit later, and really marketing and selling who you are, your skills that you have, responsibilities that you've had in the past, etc. Okay. Next one. So the STEM Industry Fair is this Friday from 11 to 2, and that one is in person. And the Fall Career Expo will be virtual. Okay, so that is going to be online through Handshake. We will have more details as we get closer to that one. Okay, if you are attending, make sure you have a mask in person for this Friday. Okay, so before the fair, so let me see in the chat. Throw in the chat what you should be preparing for before you actually step foot at the Fitness and Rec Center. What are some things that you should be doing beforehand? Let's see it. Good, having a good resume, having a proper attire, physical copies and business cards if you have them. Good, elevator pitch on point. Nice, give me one more. Okay, having some clothes or specific clothes, right? Are you wearing pajamas? Probably not. Okay, so making sure you have professional attire. Okay, business casual at minimum. I would definitely recommend business professional. Okay, it's better to be overdressed than underdressed. Okay, good. I like where you guys' heads at. So one, you want to be prepared. You want to feel confident when you're going into this conversation, okay? That you've at least practiced before. It could be intimidating. You have, 50 employers that are there, and each employer is bringing maybe 2 to 3 representatives. There's a lot of other students. There's a lot of commotion kind of going on. So going into a career fair, feeling like you've been there before, at least knowing what you want to say and get across to an employer, super important. Okay, so one, we have a lot of great resources for you. Okay, we have the Online Career Center. The Online Career Center is in Brightspace. So all of you have access to the Online Career Center already, unless you're a first-year student, which I will be adding you to tomorrow. Like if you just transferred in, or your first year, whether undergrad or graduate student, you don't have access yet because census concluded today. So I'll make sure that you get added tomorrow But it is a conglomerate of resources starting from, I don't know what I want to major in, to developing a resume, navigating a career fair, all the way to job searching and even navigating the negotiation process and accepting a job offer, right? So it goes into all of that. I'm going to show you a little bit what that looks like, okay? And so in your Brightspace courses, you have this tab, it says P&W non-academic. Okay, so you will click into there and then you will see P&W Online Career Center. If you are in Trio or 21st Century, yours will look something similar to this. Okay, so the Online Career Center begins to look like this. We made it to resemble an actual course. And so for you all, you're starting to figure out what a career fair is, and that's why you're here today. Maybe you need to personalize your resume and cover letter. Even after the fair, maybe you have an interview coming up. All of these are modules to help you feel more confident going into it. Okay, so if I click on this, what's a career fair and why should I attend one? It'll bring up what to expect. Okay, so an overview of what the actual career fair is. There's some videos in there. There's some mini quizzes, like maybe just 1-2 questions to make sure that you're actually understanding it. There's assignments, what an elevator pitch looks like, appropriate attire, what to actually wear, things like that, to really help you feel confident going into that conversation. Okay, so totally recommend that you get in there, at least see what the Online Career Center is about. Okay, next, your Handshake profile. Okay, you want to make sure that your Handshake profile also looks on point. At minimum, when you get into Handshake, you're going to want to make sure that your profile is 85% complete at minimum. Because employers are getting in here and they're saying, like, who's serious about this search, whether it's internship or job search. And if you don't have a profile picture, it might be a red flag for them, right? If you don't have some work experience in the past, if you don't have your interests, what you're looking for, right? It may not show them that you're really serious about it. Okay. And so this is an opportunity for you to showcase skills that you have, experiences that you have in the past, things that you're interested in. Skills, would be on this left side here. Okay. And you can even put your resume in there, right? So in Handshake, this is a great opportunity to showcase who you are. In this event section, you can go ahead and click on career fairs. And all of your career related events are going to be located here. Okay. And so then you go in and register. So for the STEM fair, for example, got folks coming in right now. So when you get in here, then you can go ahead and join the event. Okay. So tell me why it would be important for somebody to take a look at Handshake beforehand. Throw it in the chat section. Why would it be important for you to get in there and see the event in Handshake? What do you got? Let's see. Preparation, so they know you're serious. Okay, not just the Handshake profile, but like why the event itself. Why is taking a look at the event itself important before you go? Good, good. I see 2 folks already on point, right? You want to see which companies are going to be there and research them. Research the various employers that are going to be there. Okay, so here you have see more employers. And now with these employers, you can begin to look at, are they hiring for internships, jobs? Am I an international student that needs them to accept OPC CPT? Will they sponsor, right? If you have specific major that you're interested in, let's just say that you are mechanical engineering, for example, right? You can filter this, and I'll type it in here. to see which employers are hiring for mechanical engineering, for example. And all of a sudden, I'm taking notes immediately and I'm saying, okay, CNET Technologies, they're going to be at booth number 5. Cleveland Cliffs, they're going to be at booth 39. And you're writing this down and saying, okay, these are absolutely employers that I'm going to want to speak with. But before I do that, let me figure out some more about them. Let me see who they are as a company. You know, what roles that they're actually hiring for, what years they're hiring for, right? Like all of those are important when you're going into the career fair. That way you're not wasting your time and twiddling your thumbs once you actually get there and be like, well, there's so many people here. Who should I talk to, right? You want to go in feeling confident. And so lots of options, I guess, especially if you're mechanical engineering for the STEM fair here. Okay, so now you're setting up for the day. You wrote down who you need to speak with. You wrote down their booth number. And now you can even start thinking about like which order. Should I go and speak with my number one, like let's say I want it to be at Cleveland Cliffs. They're my number one choice. Do I want to make sure that they're my absolute first person I speak with? Or do I want to get at least a little bit of practice in first, go to my number 2, go to my number 3, and then go back to Cleveland Cliffs, right? So a little bit of practice before you actually go to your top spot, your top employer, okay? So you're researching, you're clarifying some of your goals and deciding what you want to learn at this career fair. Do you want to learn more about the career itself? Do you want to learn when are they hiring? Is it for this semester? Is it for the summer? Another biggest misconception is that, you know, I can start looking in April for an internship in the summer. And that's just not the case. Overall, employers are looking for students now already for summer. And that's how you know you're getting a more quality internship experience, is because these companies are more prepared to hire that far in advance. Okay. Maybe it's where they're located. Like, do you have the means to travel? Or are you looking to stay kind of in this Northwest Indiana, Chicagoland region, right? So those are types of questions that you can be asking them when you're speaking to each of these employers. Okay, figuring out fit, things like that. Okay. Any questions so far? Feel free to throw anything in the chat that you might have. We could just talk about it throughout, you know, this conversation today. Can you just discuss the setup in the gym with booth numbers? Great question. Great question. Okay. Let's go back to the event. So details here. So on the main page, okay, that was a great question. On the main page, again, you've clicked join event. You've registered for it. Instead of just clicking here, see more employers, towards the bottom here, you have an employer booth map and the list of the employers with their booth number. So if you were to click on the booth number, we have it here in alphabetical order, this middle one. You can see all their booth numbers. Next, the Zoom bar is in the way. Next, you can click on employer booth map. Now here is the map, and I'm going to make this look a little bit better before Friday. I'll make sure I do this tomorrow because right now it's on 2 separate pages. But here is your booth map. It has in the FRC, it has where each of these tables are going to be located. That way you know exactly where to go. Okay, again, I'll make this look a lot neater tomorrow, but there's your idea, okay? To help answer your question, hopefully. Great question about the elevator pitch. We will be talking about that shortly. When is it too early to want a job within your major? It's never too early. It's never too early. The only time that it might be a little bit of an issue is, let's just say, for example, let's get back to the presentation. Let's just say, for example, you're a mechanical engineering student and the employer is looking for you to have AutoCAD or SolidWorks experience, but you're a first-year student who in high school never had AutoCAD, SolidWorks, any type of 3D modeling before, and you're a first semester student that's never done any of that, it might be a little bit difficult to find and secure an internship position. However, if you are applying for a position that doesn't need specific skills, especially technical skills, then you can absolutely apply as soon as possible. So that's a great question, Justice. And we're getting to the elevator pitch shortly. Okay, we already talked about the Online Career Center. So I do just want to make sure that I touch base on it again. It's not just for resumes, cover letters. It's also for interviewing, practicing the interview, your interviewing skills. I've had students that have come in here and said, I have my resume, I have a degree and I'm about to graduate in December, and I've applied to 50 jobs and I haven't heard back. Right? Well, maybe it's because there's an issue with the resume itself. Maybe it's because they're coming so late to the Career Center asking for advice. And for those of you that are freshmen and sophomores specifically, I want to applaud you for being here already. Like, you're doing a fantastic job by already getting in here because you're not waiting for this piece of paper, the golden ticket, and that piece of paper being the degree, to grant you a job. That's just not the case anymore. You need to be able to articulate skills, and we're going to help you through the Online Career Center, through making in-person appointments or virtual appointments with us, so that you can better articulate skills that you've developed, even if that means that you develop those skills at Dairy Queen, even if it means you develop those skills at Macy's, right? You don't have to have relevant work experience to have skills, okay? So I did just want to make sure that I highlighted that. Kunle, sounds good. So I did want to talk about your attire and etiquette. I, again, would highly recommend that you wear business formal. It is much better to be overdressed than underdressed. It is a great way to have a positive first impression, okay? Even if that means the employers are dressed in jeans and a polo, okay? Because again, it shows your seriousness when you're getting in front of them and how serious you're going to take this job search process, okay? So one, I'd recommend having a suit, okay? Whether that's dress pants or a skirt and a blazer or some jacket, okay? Having a tie if possible, depending on your choice. Color coordinate, make sure you have dress shoes and a belt, if you know, or khaki or suspenders, you know. Make sure that you're dressing for the occasion, okay? Any questions on attire? I know that could sometimes be a little weird. Okay, so now we've done all of the before. Now we are the day of. Okay, now we are the day of. So one, we talked about the elevator pitch. That was a question that came up earlier. I'd love to see in the chat, what are things that you absolutely need to include in the elevator pitch? Okay, they might be called, the elevator pitch also called your 30-second, 60-second commercial. What do you absolutely need to make sure that you have included? Let's see it. What do we got? Name, year, major, future plan. Good. There's more. Those are definitely, you've hit 2 out of the 3 key elements, Kane, of an elevator pitch. Who else? Give me at least 2 more folks. Experience in the field. Nice. Okay, what else? Skills or past experiences. Good, Kenneth, Oscar. I love it. Okay, so if you're not writing, if you don't have a pen and paper, or you don't have you know, most of you are probably on a laptop, make sure you take this next, screenshot it, take a picture of this next slide. Here are the 3 things you have to have. and you are going to be asked, tell me about yourself in 99% of your conversations. You have to have these three elements. One, who you are professionally. This is not, I have 10 brothers and sisters. I was born in Hammond, Indiana. No, we don't care about that, right? We want to make sure we know who you are as a professional. So let's look at your current status. So when, was it Kane? Yeah, Kane, when you said name, year, major, that's exactly it. So, hi, my name is Jorge Lopez. I am a junior that's majoring in secondary education for mathematics. I'm currently the president of the math club. Just making some of this up. Okay, we've worked with X nonprofit in the area, etc. Okay, so that's part one: who you are as a professional. Making sure you also include, I'm a student at Purdue Northwest. Okay, 2, your highlight reel. Okay, and this could be incorporated. What Ken said, your experience. Oscar said your skills or past experiences. It is a highlight reel. So give me 2 to 4 points that make you stand out. Okay, again, that is relevant for the type of role that you're applying for. So I just gave the example of I'm majoring in secondary education. Okay, so maybe it's, and I was actually a camp counselor at the YMCA for 40 kids aged 6 to 12. And I planned and coordinated their daily activities to make sure that they had an engaging experience. Right, so now I'm showcasing my skill set. Right, I planned, I coordinated, I made sure it was engaging for youth. I talked about some of the responsibilities I had. Right, I talked about being in charge of or leading 40 students. Right, so you need to sit down and think about what are 2 to 4 highlights that I could speak of that would showcase who I am as a professional. Okay, and then lastly, the last part of your elevator pitch, which Kane said is your future plan, right? It could be why you're here. Why are you speaking to this employer? Why are you interested in this role? If you don't, let's just say you don't know who this company is, or you don't know what jobs they have available, you can substitute why you're here with why you're so passionate about this work. Why you're so passionate. For me, for example, why am I so passionate about education? Why am I so passionate about being a teacher, about the youth? Right? So it could be your last sentence is something that gets me really excited about this work is being able to develop minds as they grow and really having a positive impact in their lives. Right? So all of that's done within 30 to 60 seconds. Right? I've been in front of students where I asked them, tell me a little bit about yourself. And all of a sudden, I don't know when they're going to land the plane. They're going to go on forever and ever. Right? And maybe you're like, I don't know where to stop. Right? Or they don't give me enough and they don't tell me enough. So this is kind of the perfect in between and gives you a structure on how to navigate the elevator pitch itself. Any questions on the elevator pitch before we move forward? Yep, absolutely. Okay, I'm gonna move forward. If you do have questions, feel free to chat or send them in. We'll talk more about this towards the end. Okay. So next part, and I'm not going to show the slide yet. Next part is navigating the actual conversation with an employer. I had a student that I've worked with for a few years now. They told me that it can be a little bit awkward. Like, I don't know what to say. And the employer is not asking me any questions. So I don't think they're interested. And I said, well, what are you asking them? And they said, well, nothing. And I said, well, you're boring. You are boring, right? The last thing you want to do is be boring and not stand out. So give me some ideas, write them in the chat. What are some ways for you not to be boring? I don't want you to be robots, especially you're here for this discussion today on career fair prep. I don't want you to be robots when you're going into these conversations. Gardenia, be enthusiastic, listen, be responsive. Good start. What else? Thinking about your speech beforehand. I'm assuming elevator speech. Is that how I'm getting something? Ask them what you will be doing at their company. Good. Yes, Kenneth, ask them questions, right? That's a great way for you to not be boring. So when you're having these conversations, it's a conversation. It's not a one-way street, right? It's not you just spitting it all out, right? You want it to be both ways. So you are going to, love that you said that, Gardenia, ask them about their experience. You want this to be a personalized experience. You want it to be more of developing a relationship with these individuals. Again, I do not want you to be a robot, right? I want you to be able to navigate a conversation, and it should be a back and forth. Ask questions and try and take control of the interview and possibly calm your own nerves. Exactly. And how you'll do that is by asking them things you actually want to know and not just asking a question just to fill the air. Okay. So I'm going to go to the next slide. Here's some examples. So here are some great questions to ask employers. Love it. He's also, or she is also human. They are human, right? Think about it. They're going to be speaking to 50 plus people, and they might be hearing, the same elevator pitches, right? So how do you stand out? And so some strong questions you might be asking is, what's a great challenge facing somebody in this position? Can you tell me about the positive of this organization's training policies, incentives? And this goes to your point, Gardenia. What do you like about working here? They're human. They want to be able to talk about their experiences, right? So what is the next step in the selection process? That's also a good question. Some weak ones. How many sick days can I claim as a new employee? How much will I be paid? What does this company or job do? Why is that a weak one? What is this company or job? What do they do? Why is that a weak question? Or tell me about your company. Why is that weak? Exactly. It shows that you're unprepared. You didn't do your research, right? So we talked about it beforehand. You're doing the prep work ahead of time so that the day of is easy. Okay. So if you have questions you want to make sure that you get answered, write them down, right? Like go into the fair with a notepad. Do it. Take a pen and paper, right? Take those things with you. That's completely okay. Take notes even while you're having a conversation. Try to still have eye contact. Maybe that means practicing writing while you're still looking at somebody. It takes a little bit of practice, but do it, right? There's no shame in doing that because it shows that you truly care. Okay. So be prepared to answer questions about yourself, right? So again, this is going to be maybe a 5-minute conversation that you're having with these employers. And so we've talked about the elevator pitch, that first part, being proactive, right? Doing your homework, that's part of it. Talking about your current situation. So does that mean you're looking for an internship? What are you looking to learn in that internship? What experience are you trying to gain, etc.? Okay. Know your skills, right? So like know your resume like the back of your hand, right? Let's say you have those hard copies of your resume. You give them a copy of your resume at the beginning of the conversation and they notice something that strikes them. It says, oh, I see you have experience with AutoCAD. Tell me about that project. You have to be prepared to speak on that experience. So if you write it in your resume, make sure you know it really well. Okay. I have STAR method on here. Bonus points. I will give you an Air 5 if you can tell me what STAR method stands for. Or at least give me some guesses. And even if you don't know every single one of the letters of the acronym, give me at least some of them. What is STAR method? Scenario, task, action, result. Oof, you must have done your homework, Evan. Yes. Okay, so scenario could be switched out for situation. So they might say, hey, would you mind telling me about an experience that you had when you had to show good communication skills? Right? Would you tell me about an experience when you had to show leadership? You need to be able to respond accordingly. And again, this follows a structure so that you're not the person that doesn't know when to land the plane. So give me the situation, give me your overall scenario. What was the problem that you faced? Okay, T for task. So what did you need to accomplish? What was the goal there? A, the action, what did you specifically do? Right, like what did you do in order to accomplish that goal? And then this is where a lot of students forget, and a lot of people in general forget, is R, the result. Okay, so if you just say, this is what I did, but you don't tell me it went well, or you don't tell me what you learned from it, then I'm left like, okay, ... tell me more. So this, using the STAR method, we can use it in this career fair kind of setting, definitely in an interview setting. Okay. Any questions on during the fair? What we should be doing during the fair itself? Okay, what's the last thing? Let's say that you just got done speaking to an employer. What's the last thing that you should do before you walk away? Before you walk away from this employer, what's the last thing you should do? And resume over. That's part of it. Ask them when they will contact you. Good. Yes. Ravi, nice. Kane, you kind of said it. You said ask for contact info. The next level to that is asking for the business card. That is elite status. Okay. Ask for the business card. The business card, it saves you time, right? You're not writing down their email address, making sure you spelled it correctly, blah, blah, blah. There's also another secret to the business card. What are we going to do with that business card? And I'll give you a hint. What are you going to do on the back of that business card? What are you writing on the back of that business card? I'll give you the answer momentarily. See if anyone knows or takes a guess. Ooh, Evan, I didn't give you an air 5 for the STAR method. There's my air 5. No one? Okay, well, now you all are going to be elite career fair attendees. Okay, so this is a colleague of mine. I met Mont about 2 weeks ago. We had a great conversation. You all are going to be having great conversations at the career fair. On the back of the business card, I wrote some of the points that we talked about during our conversation. Okay, so I put where I met him at. So I met him at the Power Onward conference at the resource fair. He's an inventor. I told him about some information on the health savings account, just kind of came up in conversation, right? Some of our benefit package stuff. And after our conversation, I sent him an email thanking him for our conversation. It was great meeting him. I sent him a follow-up more on the HSA, right? And we had a few more things that we chatted about, which I made sure to include. That shows that you are going to be an elite level attendee. So on the back of the business card, you're taking notes. And ideally, you're doing it right after the conversation that you have with an employer so that you don't forget something that was important. So who was it? You had said earlier, they're human, right? That they're human. And so if there's something that came up, let's say that, for example, a podcast that you're super interested came up and they were also interested, make sure you send them the link to the podcast, right? Like, they're human. You're developing a relationship. Again, this is a two-way street, not a one-way street. Write that on the back of the business card. So when you do follow up, you're going to include something like that. Now you definitely stand out. Okay, who's ready to be elite level attendees? Come on, let's see it. No, that's not, I wouldn't say that's unprofessional. A backpack, if you can, I would maybe try to leave it. Or even in a corner, like somewhere by us, that'd be fine. So if possible, try to leave it in a car or something. I would definitely recommend like having a folder, having a notepad. I'm gonna step away for a second. Y'all are here to be elite level attendees. This is called a pad folio, right? Maybe 10 bucks, 15 bucks on Amazon, Walmart, Target, etc. Let me show you the inside. Pad folio, a lot of times are zipped. I don't know if you can really tell, but I've got pens. I've got a place for business cards. Got notes. I could store my resumes in here too. Sorry, I don't think you can see it that well. Right? So you want to be an elite level career fair attendee, have one of those. But if you can't, right? For me, for example, I didn't even know that was existed when I was an undergrad. To be honest, I probably didn't think it was super necessary. Maybe I couldn't even afford it at that time. Or I didn't prioritize it, to be honest. It is completely okay to have a folder and a notebook. Completely okay. If you have the backpack, it's not going to be strikes against you. So I guess hopefully that answers your question. Okay, the follow-up. So after the fair, now we are doing the follow-up. After the career fair is just as important as what you did at the career fair. Again, you were trying to stand out. You are trying to put yourself, every single thing are little steps that we're taking to continue making ourselves stand out from the rest of those that were in attendance. Okay, for the rest of the applicants that you might also be applying for. So we need to be organized. So keep track of all the representatives you spoke with. How are we going to do that again? How are we going to keep track? What are we collecting, like Pokemon cards? What are we collecting? Yup, business cards. Love it. Okay, so you're collecting those things. I want you to compare the number of business cards you get versus somebody else. And I want to see how many are written on the back. Okay, something else you could do if you wanted to get even, take it to the next level. You have an Excel spreadsheet, Google Sheets, to start taking notes and figuring out who you reached out to, what date you reached out to them, etc. Not necessary, but could help in organizing. After the fair itself, maybe you're just updating some application materials, following up when needed. And then lastly, just reflecting. So take some notes, see what went really well. See what are some things that you need to work on. Okay. Maybe 2 to 3 things that you want to make sure you continue doing. And then maybe 2 to 3 things that you said, you know what? I wish I was more prepared if I would have done X, Y, and Z. So those are some things that we should be doing after the fact. Next is actually sending those follow-ups with employers. Okay. So I may not do it today, but tomorrow I'm going to send you the recording of this workshop here. In that, I will also include a thank you letter. Okay, kind of a template that we use for the thank you letter. Written notes needed? No, they're not needed. would be a nice touch. It's not gonna, hurt you if you don't do it. Definitely an email though. Definitely an email. Okay. That's why we're collecting those business cards. Okay. And so ideally you're doing this between a day or two after the fair. And I know it's on a Friday. So whether you're doing it on Friday or even definitely by Monday, make sure that you get that taken care of, thanking them, especially if you're super interested. Making sure you say your name, what you talked about, some points to really highlight your overall conversation. Make sure that you are paying attention to your grammar. You're applying to any available positions that they spoke on. Some of them are only taking applications on their website. Some are taking it straight through Handshake. So maybe those are types of questions that you'll also make sure you ask in your one-on-one with them. Okay. And here's kind of wrapping up is, yes, there are ethics to this. Okay. So make sure that you follow through on what you said. So for example, if I said that, I'll make sure that I apply. I'll apply to X position. Make sure you do it. Okay. Once you've accepted an offer, let's just say that you've applied, you've interviewed, you've accepted an offer, make sure that you follow through on that. If you renege on a job offer, it shows very poorly on you. You will also be flagged. The employers let us know when that happens. They let us know when somebody has reneged on an offer. You will be flagged in Handshake and may not have Handshake accessibility anymore. Okay. And with that being said, know that it's a small world in the kind of the recruiting circles, and a lot of them know each other. And so if your name gets out that you've done such a thing as reneging or not following through, you don't want that to look poorly on yourself. Kenneth asks, so you should apply one job at a time? No. What I'm saying is you should only accept one offer at a time. You can apply to as many positions as you like. And ideally, and we have another workshop entirely on the job search itself. And I'll just kind of give you a gist of it. You should not be applying to 100 jobs. You should be applying to maybe 10 jobs and funneling it from there, showing you're super interested in more specific ones that align really well with your values, your skill set. So I just want to reiterate, it's not apply to one job at a time. It's accept an offer one job at a time, right? So if Pepsi offers me a job and I still have an interview with Coke, but I've already accepted the offer from Pepsi, and then 3 days later, Coke says, hey, I'm also offering you this position, but for $5,000 more. You've already accepted the job offer for Pepsi. If you were to renege on that and say, you know what, Pepsi, no, thank you, it's going to look very poorly on you. And word might get around pretty easily that you've done such a thing, which would reflect poorly on you. Does that make sense, Kenneth? Cool. Okay. So I don't even think I said my name. My name is Jorge Lopez. I am a career consultant here at Purdue Northwest. I love having these types of conversations. It says full virtual availability. We're actually in person as well. So we're available here Monday through Friday, 8 to 4:30. We're not really doing drop-in hours right now. So just make sure you call or schedule an appointment via Handshake so that we could set something up. We love talking to students, helping them feel real confident when they're going into their job search, their career fairs, planning for an interview, even looking at resumes. Okay. So we're super available, willing to help. And now that you all have come, you're going to be elite career fair goers. I do want to know, give me at least one thing that you've taken from this that you're going to make sure you implement moving forward. Okay, give me one thing you're going to make sure you do. Good. Prepare. Elevator pitch. I appreciate that. Good refresher. Nice. Yes, the pitch is important. The pitch is definitely important. It's one of the first impressions, right? The resume itself is also a first impression, because it's going to showcase how organized you are, how neat you are, how much you pay attention to details, right? The resume itself is a first impression, but so is the elevator pitch and how you present yourself. Okay. So I will repeat, this has been recorded. Let me turn off the recording.